A worthwhile career in banking with good pay and even better prospects. Personal assistant to the marketing director, luncheon vouchers and the opportunity to travel. A 3-year course at a polytechnic with a grant and a cheap student bar. Satisfaction guaranteed as a mechanic in a large garage. These are just some of the prizes to be won or to be lost in today's edition of the Interview Game. And here's your host, Jimmy James.
Hello, I'm Jimmy James, and this is the Interview Game, the panel show that puts you before the panel, the game that all of us must play to win jobs, friends, and influence people. Remember, you can't earn a bob if you don't get a job, and that's what this show is all about. Only those with the skill, the tenacity, and the strategy can win. And behind me, there's a veritable assault course we've built to test the strength of today's plucky contestants as they try for jobs at Blogs Industries. But enough of the philosophy. It's time now to meet our resident expert and adjudicator. Is it Nanette Newman? Is it Lionel Blair? No, it's Anne Schulman, personnel manager at Drake International. Welcome, Anne. Come a little forward here. Anne, you've been helping people get jobs for many years now, but looking at you, it can't be that many years. Seriously, though, you have done a lot of interviews yourself. Now, what's the most important thing?
Well, the most important thing is the interview. The interview is vital. Most employers get over 20 applications for every single job, so they can afford to be choosy. It's up to the candidate to persuade an employer that they have the right skills, qualifications, and the personality to do a good job. Employers can only judge those qualities by seeing them and talking to them.
But surely it's all a bit of a game, isn't it, Anne? I mean, after all, in an interview situation, you've only got a few moments to persuade the person sitting on the other side of the table that you are the person that they want. Not much time to make an impact, and not much time to make mistakes.
Well, perhaps you're right. Perhaps it is a game. But like in any sport, the people with the right preparation and the right strategy or tactics, and of course the people with the right interview skills, can drastically narrow the odds.
Well, thank you very much, Anne, and we'll be talking to you later. But now, let's meet the contestants, the people who want to play today's interview game. And remember, it's only a game, and I'm Jimmy James. Now, the first contestant is Jackie Simpson from Glasgow. Now, Jackie is 17 with 5 O-levels and a CSE, and she wants to work in an office. Her hobbies are music and fashion. Are you looking forward to playing the interview game, Jackie?
Yes, Jimmy.
Jolly good.
Well, actually, no, not really.
Oh.
In fact, I hate interviews. I get nervous and start sweating and end up saying all the wrong things.
Fine, fine. But you're in it for the money, right? A girl after my own heart.
No, I'm in it because I want a job.
Yes, right. I said, well, on to contestant number 2, Paul, who's 18 years old and from Leicester. Paul has 6 O-levels and 1 A-level, and he wants to work in engineering. His hobbies are motorbikes and football. Do you like interviews, Paul?
No, not really. I mean, why should I sit there dressed up in my best clothes and some stranger ask me a lot of personal questions?
We've got a right bunch here. Okay, contestant number 3, Christine from Lewisham. She's 16 with 7 O-levels and wants a job in banking. Christine likes dancing and horse riding, but not at the same time, I hope. Oh, but what about interviews? Somebody must like interviews. Christine?
No, I can't say I really care for them myself. I get worried because I don't know what kind of questions I'm going to be asked.
Where did we get this lot? Anyway, it's only a game, and I'm Jimmy James. Anne, can you help?
Well, from my experience, that's a perfectly normal reaction. But of course, interviews really are necessary. It's just like buying a car. You search through several ads and shortlist 6. I mean, you wouldn't buy a car without looking at it first. And equally, the person who's selling it is going to polish it up, describe its good points. And it's just like that in the job market. Employers will shortlist their favourites, and they'll want to see people face to face before they decide. Equally, it's up to the candidate to make the employer want to buy, so it helps if they look their best.
Wise words there, a real voice of authority. Now, Christine said she didn't know what questions they were going to ask. Well, that's the point of round 1, preparation. This is the round where each contestant has the chance to bone up on a specialist subject, and in each case, it's themselves. Now, Christine, what kind of questions are you going to ask?
Well, I think
Now, preparation is vital if you want to win the interview game, and that means knowing just what you've got to offer and being prepared to talk about it. So to start off with, here's a series of quick-fire questions. First, Jackie. What else did you do at school other than take exams?
Well,
Wrong. Too slow. It's open for a challenge. Ah, Christine.
I was netball captain and I also played in the school orchestra.
Good answer. You score 2 points. And now, Paul, what additional training or skills have you got?
Well, I've got a driving licence.
Anything else?
No.
I'm sorry, Paul, you scored only 1 out of a possible 3 there. You forgot that you could type and program computers.
I didn't think they were relevant.
Everything's relevant in the interview game. You'd have wanted to tell the interviewer, surely, that you got those skills, but you forgot. Anyway, Christine, it's your turn. What work experience have you had?
Well, I did work at the local Oxfam shop for 4 weeks.
Good, and for an additional point, what has it taught you?
Lots of things. I can talk to strangers now without being shy. I can work on my own without supervision, and I've learnt how to deal with difficult customers.
That's fine, Christine. And you get another point there. You want to be a bank clerk, don't you?
That's right.
Well, those are just the qualities a bank would be looking for. It proves you've thought about what you've got that they want. And now, Jackie, it's your turn once more. You want to work in an office, so what qualities would employers be looking for there?
I don't know.
No points again, I'm afraid. You haven't prepared properly. Well, now, Paul, it's your turn. What is your best quality?
I'm good at darts.
Good at darts. They don't want to know that, Paul. What about determination, ability to solve problems? Christine, what's your best quality?
Well, I like to think I'm reasonably efficient. I like to keep things ordered and in their place.
Good answer. Just what an employer would like to know. And that's another 2 points. Okay, and so we've reached the end of the first round, and it's Christine in the lead, vaguely followed by Paul and Jackie trailing at the moment. Anne, what's your reaction to the competition so far?
Well, as we can see, preparation is vital. You've got to work out what you've done and what the company you're applying for wants. For example, if you're running a shop, you're going to want to hire staff who are courteous, who get on well with people, who are numerate and good at timekeeping. If you want a job with that company, then you've got to work out what you've done that shows you've got those qualities. And most important of all, you've got to be special. So make a note of the things you've done that are out of the ordinary to make the interviewer remember you.
Good advice there on how to prepare yourself. But preparation was only round 1, and there's still a long way to go. So, on to round 2, presentation, a vital part of the game. And let's face it, it is only a game, and I'm Jimmy James. All our contestants have had the chance to go off and get themselves ready. So while they're putting the final touches, let's have another quick word from Anne. Anne, why is presentation so important?
Well, it's important because it's the first thing that any interviewer will notice. You've really got to look the part. Again, it's like sport. You wouldn't go swimming in football boots.
Not unless you were doing the backstroke, the full back. Well, I'm sure our contestants are ready by now, so let's have contestant number 1 come in, Jackie.
And here is Jackie, wearing a nice 2-piece outfit in pink and black, formal shoes, and her hair tidy. A very nice little number.
Wow, I agree. So, how many marks does Jackie score?
Well, that's very well done. Not over the top, but smart and businesslike. Looking like that, Jackie would fit into any office. I give her 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Well, we're off to a cracking good start. Now, let's see contestant number 2. Come in, Paul.
And here is Paul, wearing a very fetching outfit, white-ish pumps, jeans, and a Frankie goes to... Ah, yes, Frankie goes to Cleethorpes t-shirt.
I'm not sure about this one, Anne. What do you think?
Well, Paul doesn't score highly. The simple rule about clothes is you've got to be neat, clean and comfortable. Another rule is don't be scruffy. Frankly,
Frankly, goes to Cleethorpes.
frankly, Paul doesn't look at all smart. If he feels uncomfortable in a suit, he should think about the sort of job that he's looking for. In business, a dark suit's a kind of uniform. If you want to wear jeans and a jumper, you're going to have to think of a job to match. And even then, the rule is to play safe. That way you won't make any mistakes.
So, for presentation, what do you give Paul?
Oh, I'll give him 1 out of 10 for effort.
1 out of 10. A shame there, Paul, but let's move straight along to contestant number 3. Come in, Christine from Lewisham. Christine! Oh, Christine! Come in, number 3. Your time is up. Oh, Christine! Ah, Christine.
Hi. Sorry I'm late, but I missed my train. I had to run from the station, and it took me a while to find the street.
Couldn't find the street, eh? Anne?
Oh, lateness is just the worst mistake you can make. Interviewers don't like excuses like the bus was late or I couldn't find the street. They expect people are going to think ahead and get an earlier bus or give themselves plenty of time to get to the office.
But that could mean hanging around for hours and hours.
Oh, that doesn't matter at all. Early arrival gives you plenty of time to prepare yourself and calm your nerves.
So, how many marks does Christine get?
Well, if you're late for an interview, just how are you going to be when you're actually working in the company? I'm afraid she's out of the game.
Oh dear, harsh but fair there, I think. Sorry, Christine love, but you're out of the game. Better luck next time. But come on, folks, let's give her a really big hand for being a plucky loser. Well, now the game's really hotting up, and remember, it is only a game, and I'm Jimmy James. Now we're down to just 2 contestants. They're waiting to be called in for round 3, the interview. Anne, what advice can you give the contestants here?
Well, this really is the big moment coming up now, and I'm sure they're feeling nervous, but they've both prepared well, and they've got reason to be fairly confident. Even now they're being tested. Now, Paul's just picked up the company report, and Jackie's reading Cosmopolitan. Now, that could be a mistake on her part.
And we want to find out. So here we go with round 3, the interview.
Hello. Okay. You can go in now.
Come in, Miss Simpson. Please sit down. Did you have a good journey?
Yes, thank you.
Any problems finding us?
No, no thanks.
Come on, Miss Simpson. No need to be so nervous. Just relax.
Yes, thanks.
Not a wonderful start, I think, there, Anne.
No, not the best, but interviews really are nerve-wracking, and interviewers understand that. Many interviews will start with some general conversation designed to put you at your ease. The panel is as keen as you are to see you perform well. So don't worry, try to relax, and you know Jackie's really not doing that badly.
Okay, so now it's Paul's turn, and this time the interview chairman, the chairman of the panel himself, is calling him in.
Mr. Jones, will you come in, please?
Thanks very much. Nice weather we're having, isn't it?
Yes. Do take a seat, Mr. Jones.
Thank you.
Did you have a nice journey?
Well, it wasn't too bad. Actually, my bike got a flat tyre. It's always like that on big occasions, isn't it? Though my girlfriend says it's best to go by public transport, but I think that's because she doesn't like motorbikes.
Again, not a very good start, I'm afraid.
Yes, Paul's broken quite a few of the ground rules for opening moves. Let the interviewer make the running. If he or she doesn't offer his hand, don't bother. And if you do shake hands, don't rip his arm off. Secondly, wait till you're spoken to, and don't burst in with some remark like Paul did. Also, it's just not a good idea to launch into a long story. Keep it short.
Okay then, keep it short, but there's still a long way to go and everything to play for. Let's see how Jackie's getting on.
So, how did you get on at school?
Well, you've got my results in the application form, so I won't tell you about them. What the form doesn't say is that my favourite subject was French, which I really enjoyed.
Oh, that's very interesting. Have you ever been to France?
Well, I went on an exchange with a girl from Paris last summer holidays. She came over here for 3 weeks, and then I spent 3 weeks staying with her in France. I found that really improved my French.
That could have been very difficult. 3 weeks spent with strangers.
Not at all. I like meeting people. It's fun.
Okay. So, Anne, how do you think she's doing now?
That was excellent. It shows she's really prepared well for the interview and thought about what answers she can give. She was right not to simply repeat what was on the application form. In fact, an interviewer will usually try and draw you out.
So, what are the interviewers really looking for?
Well, that very much depends upon the job you're going for. Basically, they'll be judging you against the needs of the job or the course. And where Jackie's really scoring at the moment is that she's answering the questions in such a way that it leads the interviewer onto her good points. The way she introduced the fact that she gets on well with people was quite masterly.
Okay, so Jackie's getting into her stride. How about Paul?
Right, you've got an A-level in physics. Do you like technological things?
Well, yeah, I think they're interesting.
Sorry?
I said yes, I like them.
And you've got listed here computers among your hobbies. How long have you been doing that?
Well, I got given a microcomputer a couple of Christmases ago, and it sort of built up from there.
And are you interested in that?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, there's so much to learn about, from mainframes to micros and all the different computer languages.
But what computer languages are you familiar with?
Well, there's BASIC, which is very basic. There's COBOL, which is good for business applications. There's Fortran, which is good for scientific calculations. And then there's Logo, which is a good language for learning on.
Right, that's good. As you must know, we use a lot of the new technology here at Bloggs Industries. What sort of applications do you think we could use them for here?
Well, I was interested to read in your company report that you spent some £2 million on a CAD/CAM system for engineering design. That's one of the areas where computers really can pay off, both for design and for tooling.
Well, Paul seems to be warming up. Anne?
Yes, even though he did have quite a slow start. He did mumble, if you noticed, and waving his hands about wasn't a good idea. You know, we've all got funny mannerisms. Often we don't realise it. So, how do you find out? Well, one good way is to arrange some interviews with a friend beforehand.
Okay, a poor start there, but Paul did improve, didn't he?
Yes, he did. But unlike Jackie, he had to have those answers dragged out of him. It showed he hadn't really prepared for the interview, and he wasn't really selling himself. But once the interviewer did get him on a pet subject, he relaxed and started to show what he was worth. I was very impressed about that comment on the company report, and you could see they really liked it too.
Okay, so Paul's improving, so back to Jackie, and in her case, the questioning has moved onto her work experience, and I can tell you there's a hard one coming up. She's going to be asked how she got on with her manager, and for the benefit of you folks at home, let me tell you, she hated him. Now this should be good.
Now, I see you've already gained some experience of working in an office. Tell me about that.
Well, it was during the Easter holidays this year. I worked for 5 weeks as a clerical assistant at Cook's. They're a local insurance company. I did the filing and some secretarial work, and I even worked in reception for a bit. It was very interesting, and I learnt a lot.
Here it comes. I can hardly wait.
Tell me, how did you get on with the boss?
Well, I must admit, there were certain parts of the management system I didn't really like. Like, it often seemed that the right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing.
Yes, I can understand that. How could management have been improved?
Well, I think it was a question of internal communication, letting people know what was going on rather than simply expecting them to find out for themselves. You see...
Well, she seemed to wriggle her way out of that one, didn't she?
Well fielded. She did a nice job there. She didn't blame the boss personally, but she talked about the principles of management. You can see they really loved that.
All right, but the game's not over yet. Now it's Paul's turn for a really tricky question. He's going to be asked about his family, and what the interviewer doesn't realize is that Paul's parents have recently got divorced. So it's a bit of a sensitive issue.
Now, I see you come from a large family. You've got 3 brothers and a sister. Are you close?
Well,
How do you get on with your mother and father?
look, I'd prefer not to answer that question, if that's okay.
Oh, yes, of course. I see you're interested in motorbikes. Do you repair your own?
Yes, that's half the fun. I like taking the bike apart and looking at what makes it tick and then putting it all back together again. In fact, that's why I want to be an engineer. You see...
Now, Paul didn't do so well. He didn't even answer the question. You could almost feel the interviewer's embarrassment.
Yes, but Paul was quite within his right not to answer. A good interviewer will sense it and not pursue you. I think he made a very good recovery and a nice lead into why he wanted to be an engineer.
Oh, okay then. So it would seem our two candidates are doing rather well after all. But the game's not over yet. In fact, we're now getting to the really tricky bit, the end of the interview.
Well, right, Jackie, I think that's about it. But before you go, are there any questions that you want to ask us?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, come on, there must be one or two things that you want to know about us.
Well, how much holidays do you get?
Good, but that was in the booklet that we sent you before you came here. Didn't you look at it?
Well, I sort of glanced at it.
I see. Well, we give 4 weeks holiday and bank holidays. Any other questions?
No, I don't think so.
Right, well, Miss Simpson, I think that will be all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, Jackie tripped up there, didn't she?
It's sensible to have a few questions ready. You shouldn't be afraid to ask about anything at all that's puzzling you, unless, of course, the answers in the information they've already sent you. A few questions you might ask could be, what opportunities are there for training or promotion, or even, how soon will I be told the result of this interview?
Right. Now it's Paul's turn for the end of the interview.
And finally, Mr. Jones, do you have any questions?
No. I think I've learnt everything I need to know at this stage from the information sheet. Although I would like to say something about the electrical engineering question which you asked me, which I don't think I really answered properly. What I forgot to say was, although I haven't actually studied the subject at school, I have covered the basics at the evening classes I go to on bike maintenance. I mean, those are just the basics at this stage, but I would be keen to learn more.
All right, good. Thank you very much, Mr. Jones. Oh, Mr. Jones, you've forgotten your coat.
Well, not very good at all, I think. I mean, he didn't even ask any questions.
You know, Paul really did do well. The end of an interview is a very good opportunity to pick up on anything you feel you answered badly. It's just such a shame he spoilt it by forgetting his coat. Wait until you're out of the building before relaxing.
Okay, but now it is the end. The game is over. The only bit now is waiting to hear who's won. In real life, they might ask you to wait after the interview, which is really nerve-wracking, but generally they let you know through the post. On the interview game, though, the result is but seconds away. But first, let's have a quick word with our plucky contestants. Jackie, how did you find your interview?
Well, it was a tough one and I was really nervous to start off with, but I think I got into my stride and gave some good answers. In fact, I even began to enjoy it. You know, it's quite fun talking about yourself. I wish I'd read up about the company first, though. I don't think they like that.
Okay, thank you, Jackie. And Paul, how do you feel you did?
I don't know. Can't tell. Just want to forget it. I wish I hadn't made a fool of myself at the end, though.
Okay, thank you both. And now let's have a big hand for Jackie and Paul. And I've got the result here in this envelope. Thank you, Doreen. Well, who's got the job? Who is the winner of the interview game? The suspense is killing me. The winner could be you. An interview might seem like a game, with tactics and presentation and preparation, but it is a serious matter. If any of us are to get the job we want, we've got to get through it. Who knows if Paul or Jackie got the job they want? Perhaps someone else was better qualified or was better on the day than they were, and we saw how they both made some mistakes. That's not their fault, and there's not much they can do about it, except from trying to get better qualifications or taking up interests to give them the edge next time. The most important thing, if you do fail, is not to think you're second best. The positive way of looking at a failed interview is to think, well, they missed their chance. They could have had one of the best, and they let me go. Don't give up, but learn from your mistakes. Think about the interview. What errors did you make? How can you improve your preparation or performance? The booklet that comes with this program will help you and give you more information. For don't forget, practice does make perfect, and if you do it right, you too can win in the interview game.